Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. We have a very special guest, the alpha female, Jazzy Gabert. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. I'm fascinated. Is that wallpaper behind you or is that actual bookcases?
You never know.
Wow, well. I looked at it and I thought, are there loads of vinyl like records or is it wallpaper?
No, it's
It's
actually wallpaper, but
it's
I do love books. I have a lot of books, but I recently moved, so they're not yet in place. So, but it's a wallpaper.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm like you. I love books as well. I've got books scattered all over the place at the moment. So I'm trying to like read two or three at a time, and it doesn't work. I can't focus.
What kind of books do you read usually?
I love self-improvement books and I love biographies. I read the one about Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, and it's
Yeah.
like so fascinating.
Oh,
And yeah,
wow.
my latest book is about the Masonics, like
Oh,
yeah, I'm super interested in this kind of stuff.
okay. Secret societies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I tell Jazzy?
No.
No.
Maybe later you tell me
Maybe
something.
after recording, Jim. You don't want to get yourself in trouble.
No, I can tell. I just can't divulge. You're reading about the Freemasons.
Hmm.
I'm a Freemason.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
I,
Just
I actually meet a lot of people. Like there's a guy just around the corner here, and he told me also he's a Freemason. Like I don't know if I want to believe him, but cool.
I am a Freemason. But I can't divulge anything.
He's very secretive about it. I always ask him, like, what do you know? What's going on behind the scenes? Never
Yeah,
tells me
which
anything.
level are you and this kind of stuff, right? It's so
Yeah.
super interesting,
Well,
like the code words and all that.
I will just put it like this. I rule the world. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's it. That's all
Maybe
you
the
need.
world of the lady. I don't know.
I mean, I may tell you, I may divulge when we stop recording. Who knows? But
You
that is
don't know
fascinating.
anything. You don't know anything that's going on. Don't pretend. That's why you don't tell us anything, because you don't know anything.
Fine. I know nothing. I know nothing, of course. But you've been busy though. I mean, am I allowed to ask? You told us you were filming a movie.
It's so much fun. The only bad part is I cannot dye my hair pink because they need me to have like dark hair. But it's so much fun and it's so professional. Like, guys, you have no idea. One person is doing my makeup, the other is my hair. Then there's one on my outfit. The other one is doing like the sound, And there's like 5 to 6 people around me, and then there's the girl. Do you need coffee? Are you hungry? And I'm like, this is freaking awesome, like it's amazing.
Have you got a
Yeah,
personal assistant?
yeah, like it's incredible. Like I'm like on the set, I'm like a star, and it feels so good. Like I never had that before. It's like my first actual proper, thing. So yeah, it's so much fun.
Is
And
it a
I still have
lifestyle that you can get used to? Is it something you want to do a bit
absolutely,
more of?
yeah. I really want to go. And the fun part is the producer, like after we did the first takes, and he came over to me, he said, are you for sure that's your first movie? I'm like, yeah, for real. Like, that's my first one. I'm like, you're so good at it. And I'm like, ah. So yeah,
Wow.
hopefully there will be more. I got like yesterday, I got another request for something, and I even knew their, like the people involved. So I was like, wow, that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
finger crossed that I will soon have my second thing in the pocket.
Well, I mean, watch out, Hollywood. I mean,
That would be
who
amazing.
knows? Maybe
Hey, in Germany, we do a lot of great movies too. We don't even need to go to Hollywood.
that's very true. But I mean, you never know. I mean, we could see you starring side by side with The Rock one day. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Are we allowed to ask what the movie's about?
Well, not really. Like, I cannot tell too much,
Ah,
but soon. Like, we will
that's it.
finish in June, and then maybe, I think it takes a long time, maybe like a half or a year, maybe, but Soon it will be there, and then
Can you
you
tell
will be
us
fascinated.
what genre the movie is? Is it sci-fi, romance, comedy?
It's not. It's a little bit comedy. Like my scene is a little bit comedy, but it's more like a gangster movie. Like
Oh.
I saw it. And do you know the movie Faster from The Rock?
Yes.
Like this style. Like
Okay.
it's like dark and yeah, it's amazing. We have guns and we have smoke. We have all the bad shit. With trucks, we have all that.
Well, I'm sold because I'm a big fan of like gangster movies and the mafia and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sold. So when it comes out, let us know because I'll be watching that.
Yeah, I hope it will be in your language. I mean, I know it's a German movie, so I don't even know if it's in English, but I will translate for you, okay?
Yes,
Deal.
I'll hold you to that. I will. But we talk a bit of wrestling before we get into your career and stuff. Callum was telling me that you was actually on a show that he was working on.
Yeah, there was. I have a feeling it was. I want to say NGW, but I don't know if it was definitely NGW. It was a UK show, and it was about 8 years ago, and it was a show that you was on. And yeah, I was just saying to Jamie pre-record, I was like, I've been on a show where I was doing the ring and stuff while that you was on. So
You know, maybe
well,
my opponent. If you know my opponent,
I
I
can't
know.
remember who you was against.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
I know it was about 9 years ago. But when did you first come over to the UK to wrestle?
I came with Pro Wrestling Eve in 2012. I came over.
It was around 2012. So yeah. What was it like coming to the UK for the first time? Obviously, we've got a very different wrestling scene. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it and I learned so much. Like, I mean, I came to Pro Wrestling Eve, right? And they gave me a chance to portray myself, and the UK really took me with open arms. Like I was in the media, the FSM magazine, and I go to a league of their own, and I got like amazing jobs in the UK, right? I even went to, and nobody knows, I even went to first dates in the UK.
Oh, really?
To show first dates, yeah. But dude, I mean, I don't know if he's watching, I don't care, but there was a guy, he was such a big wrestling fan, and he only asked me wrestling stuff, and you know, it was a date. I'm like, are you interested in me or are you interested in wrestling? Like,
I'd feel the same, yeah. Like if you go on a date with somebody and all they're focusing on is wrestling, it'd be like you're getting an interview, not a date. You know?
Yeah. And then I had to break his heart, and I said no, and he was like super disappointed, you know. And he tried to find me on social media, and he's like, "Oh, please give me a chance." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm not dating fans."
Well, it's his loss. It's his loss.
Yeah.
But
But you know, then I came to the UK. Like I moved to London actually, and I have to say it was a tough time. You know, like it was not like someone promised me a lot of things. You know, he promised me let's work together, and then I will make sure you get a lot of bookings. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out. And because London was so expensive, I moved to Swindon. Swindon was a little bit cheaper from rent and everything.
Yeah.
And then Japan came. So I was only maybe a year in the UK. But I got to meet Dixon at the All-Star Wrestling, you know.
Oh, Brian.
That
yeah.
was fun,
No,
yeah.
Callum, no.
Jamie, we've got to ask.
No.
Why?
So,
Callum has this thing, whenever we speak to people that have worked with Brian, he tries to get them to do an impression, and he's going to try and get you to do an impression of Brian Dixon.
Yeah, like I can't. I know that there are
No.
people out there who can do amazing impressions, but I'm not one of them.
You know Brian Dixon's a hell of a character, right? You know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Brian Dixon impression. There's some people who do really good impressions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to do one, but as long as you know what Brian's like, he's a funny guy.
I just have like a fun story, you know, like, I mean, you know my outfit, right? Like when I'm dressed up as the alpha female, I have like a lot of arguments. So I go, like, I was there with T-Bone. Like, T-Bone introduced me to the whole thing, and he said to Brian Dixon, like, here's a girl from Germany, she want to wrestle, and there were no girls there at the moment, and he said, like, no, we can't use her, blah, 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 you know, they tried to get me off, but then they say, okay, you know what, dress up and then we will see, right? And then, of course, I come out with my alpha female thing, and he was only staring at my boobs, and he's like, yeah, okay, you got a job. And then I was like,
Brian.
Rumble. And it was hilarious. Like, I got some, like, these days, like, I mean, that's like long time ago, but these days, the thing they did to me, like, it's not possible.
Yeah.
For example, I was a ring girl, right? And I have to distract the referee, and I can't remember, but I think my boy, he went to the top rope, and I have to distract someone. Anyway, Frankie Sloan, his name, right? He was the referee. He grabbed my boobs. He's like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And I tried to stay in character, like, but man, I was like, what are you doing?
That would not fly nowadays.
No.
Or I was teamed up with a guy, I don't want to say his name, but we go out to the stage and he cut a promo, right? And then like, I know it was planned, but I was like in shock. So he's on the mic, right? And he's like, yeah, and here my bodyguard. And he turns around and grabbed my boob, and I'm like, for real? Like, and they do this shit all the time, I was like, I don't like that.
No.
But you have to play with it, just, they're the boys. But these days you can't pull this kind of stuff off.
And rightly so, really.
Well, yeah, that's my memories of Brian Dixon.
I
knew the minute you said Brian Dixon, he was going to try and make you do an impression because...
No, look, I always ask for either an impression or a story.
Yeah.
And you gave us a story, so...
You got a story, yeah.
To be fair, I mean, the best impression we have had is when we spoke probably to Nathan Cruz. Nathan did the best impression. Mark Haskins didn't do a bad impression, but...
Mm-hmm.
When Nathan Cruz did the impression, it was like Brian was in the room. It was just...
It's the best
I think
impression.
T-Bone can do a really good impression too.
Yeah.
Right, we'll have to reach out to T-Bone as well, Callum.
Right.
But you mentioned Japan, though. I mean, a lot of people we speak to always say Japan's a big goal. I mean, what was your experience like with Japan? I mean, you was at Stardom.
Dude, it was never my goal. Like, seriously, I watched a documentary and it's called Gaia Girls. You have to watch it if you didn't watch it. Like, it's brutal. Like, it's, like a documentary about girls in Japan. And there's like this one girl, she had to go to the dojo. She cannot contact her family or anything. She has to train super hard. And then she gets drop kicked in the face by Michael Satomura. And she's like bleeding. And she has to apologize that she's bleeding. And I'm like... Dude, I don't want to go there.
Sorry, I'm bleeding. Sorry, you kicked me in the face and made me bleed.
Yes. Sorry, I'm weak and I'm bleeding, and I'm like, this is insane.
Oh my God.
And then I knew all the stories that you have to do like 1,000 squats and 1,000 push-ups, and believe me, I was nowhere near that, like maybe 2 push-ups,
Yeah.
So I was like, I really don't want to go there. And then, they asked me if I come over for like 2 shows, and I'm like, okay, I can do that, I guess. And then right after my flight, there was like a 17-hour flight. They brought me to training, and it was exactly what I expected and feared for. So I saw a girl laying on the other girl, like really punching her in training, right? Like, and she's like screaming, and I'm like, dude,
that's insane.
In wrestling,
like, I love American wrestling because it's fun. It's a lot of show. You can play your big girl. You don't have to prove that you're a big girl. And then I'm in freaking Japan, and the fun part is they're asking me, hey, can you do a 30-minute match? And in my head I'm like, no, but of course I said yes, because I don't want to lose my job. But it was brutal. I had a 30-minute match with Nanae Takahashi. She was unbeaten for 2 years, and I was like, hell.
Wow.
But,
I know you have got like a mixed martial arts background. I mean, has that helped? Obviously, with Japan as well. I mean, did that help you at all?
Well, that mixed martial art journey started because of Japan, so I go to the Japanese training, and it was brutal. Like, this little girls, man, they were beating my ass every time in training, and I was like, what the hell? So I thought I need to do something, like we had like 4 hours wrestling training every day, And I thought, okay, this is not enough. Like, they're super athletes. I need to, step up my game. So I signed up in Japan for MMA promotion, and they trained me, and it actually helped me. But the fun part is nobody spoke English there, right? And I did everything in the MMA training, what I learned in the Japanese training. So I was like super respectful. I always say these Japanese words before each training. And then one day in the MMA class, a guy came in who speak English and Japanese, right? So they grab him like, please go and talk to her. I'm like, hey, what's wrong? And they're like, do you enjoy the training here? I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of fun. Why you never smile? Why you never laugh? I'm like, because it's disrespectful. They're like, no, please laugh, have fun, And I'm like, what the hell, So they in real fight, they had so much more fun than in my wrestling training,
Wow.
I remember one time in wrestling training, a girl, she got like a panic attack, like she was like just overwhelmed and she couldn't breathe, like she was like rolling outside in the ring and she was like shaking all over, and I was really scared for her. So I wanted to go over and help her, but they were saying, no, go away, she will be okay. And they just let her be there, and I'm like, this is insane. Japanese wrestling and Japanese lifestyle and the whole thing, it's so brutal. Like, it's for real. If you're not strong enough, you cannot be a wrestler, and that was like really shocking moment for me. And then in the MMA, it was like the opposite. They were so friendly. They were so helpful. They actually enjoyed it if you beat them, Like, for example, there was this boy. He was so good. But one day I managed to beat him, right? And then I was like super happy, but I tried to keep it inside because, in Japan, feelings are not really welcome. But they were like, yay, yay. And I'm like, okay, I can be happy. That's so cool. So yeah, and that's actually the reason why I did MMA, because in Japanese pro wrestling, they beat me so hard. Like, I lost my teeth, I broke my eardrum all the time, I had concussions, and I'm like, dude, it's like real fighting, So let's try real fighting. And then I did MMA.
That's incredible. Wow. I mean, you hear the stories, but that's incredible.
You'd think it would be the other way around, wouldn't you? You'd think MMA would be the one where you're really punching someone in the face and it's brutal, and Japanese wrestling would be friendly. But it's the other way around. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have this one picture with Nanae Takahashi. We were talking about, doing the double slap sequence where we, she slaps me a couple of times, I slap her a couple of times, and then we give her like a double slap. And there's a photograph guy who took the perfect timing picture, right? So you see, I do the safe slap right here, where it's safe. And where her hand was like right in my face. I'm like, dude. It's my favorite picture of all time, like boom, right in my face.
My God, that's amazing.
I've just remembered. I know who your opponent was. I think it was Winter at the NGW show.
Then it was NGW, yeah.
It was NGW. It was Winter you was against. Yeah. That was going to drive me crazy if I didn't remember.
Wow.
Yeah, then I remember.
NGW in Hull?
I think it was in Hull, was it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
There you go. That's where we are. We're in Hull. So that's... there you go. I knew he'd remember. Eventually. His little brain was going around, wasn't it? You got there in the end.
It only took me 20 minutes to remember, so...
Well, on Japan as well, I'll ask you, because obviously you got to work Io Shirai. What was that like? Because obviously she's, killing it at the moment in NXT.
Yeah. Like, you have to understand the time when I was there, it was, I don't know how you say in English, hierarchy, is that the word? Like, when you have, like, so you had like the top people, like the old school, like Kimura and Nanae Takahashi. They're like 12 years in the business, and they're like, they don't excuse anything. And then you have the new girls, like then Io Shirai, and under her was like Kairi Sane, and then me somewhere there. And like, whenever Kimura came, for example, into the locker room, everyone was like, like a robot and tried to not do anything wrong. So it was not really fun, like, it was a strange time. And I remember whenever they had like a mistake, they beat themselves up, It's like, they have like this culture, if you do something wrong, they need to beat themselves up.
Yeah.
So I think personally, they're the perfect wrestlers. Like, I mean, there are some girls, they're doing their first match, right? And they're doing like 5-star matches. Some of the people who's doing wrestling since 20 years can't even do shit they do when they have the first match, So I think they're all awesome. But I remember I had a match with Io Shirai, and she was so upset after our match because there are some things that went wrong. For example, she did like a top rope moonsault, but jumping on my belly from the top rope. But the first two didn't work well. Like, she jumped, but she landed like too far away. Then she goes again. But I don't know, like in England, in Germany, wherever you wrestle, you don't do that. Like, if you fuck up a move, you go to the next one, right? But in Japan, they have the habit that they go to the same move again and again. And then,
until they get it right.
Yeah, she was really upset. And I was like, I'm sorry. And like, she didn't speak good English when I was there, like in 2013. Right now, she speaks so much better English, and I think she understands everything. Maybe they kayfabed me, I don't know, but they didn't talk a lot to me, so I can't really tell you if they enjoy working with me, but I definitely enjoyed working with them, and I learned a lot. They were stiff as hell. Like, Kyrie, she was the worst. Like, when she with her little fingers shot me, I was like, dude, like, I want to die. But it was fun.
I'm just curious as well. I'm quite curious to know what you're drinking at the moment.
Oh, it's gin tonic. I felt like you let me waiting like 10 minutes. I was like,
I know.
Gin tonic.
I know.
And I'm not an athlete anymore, so I can drink whatever I want.
Exactly the same. I've got a bottle of whiskey downstairs that's getting opened later on, so I'm with you on that one. I really am.
I've got this juice.
Yeah. Callum doesn't drink. Yeah, Callum doesn't drink alcohol, so I drink it for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of bottles of whiskey downstairs. I'll be having a few whiskeys later on, but I know what Callum will want to speak to you about as well. Obviously, your time in TNA working with Chris Sabin. What was that like? Callum's a big fan. He was a big fan of TNA back in the day, and I know he's a big Chris Sabin fan as well, aren't you?
He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Chris Sabin.
Yeah, he's so nice and he's so talented. What is he doing now? Like, is he still around?
Yeah, he's in Impact at the moment. The Motor City Machine Guns reformed, so he's doing the tag team again with Alex Shelley, which is the Motor City Machine Guns, one of my favorite teams of all time. So so you actually got to work with Chris Sabin. What was that like?
Amazing. I mean, I had just a little stint. You say, I think. It was between my time. I was like in Japan. I had a contract there, and then we have like visa stuff going on in Japan, so you can stay there for 3 months, then you can renew it for another 3 months, but then you need to leave the country. And then come back later again. So that was like the reason. After 6 months, I had to leave the country. So I went back to the UK because that was where I was living at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then TNA was in Europe. And then they were asking me if I want to join them. And then I had like this little girlfriend, boyfriend thing going on. And they were for real together, which I figured out later. And so it was a little bit tense and it was a little bit awkward being between the situation. And there was like this nut kick thing and she kicked him for real and he was really angry about it. And I was like, dude, I don't want to be here.
Wait, so it was a storyline, but they were still getting angry about it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if someone kicks you for real in the nut, I think you would say you're really mad too.
Yes, absolutely. But I know.
Super fun.
But obviously, moving on, we have to talk, obviously, NXT UK. So, and obviously, when you turned up, we were absolutely stoked.
Mm-hmm. Do we have to talk about it?
No, if you don't want to.
Have to, actually.
You don't have to.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, but...
We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it.
No, all good.
But obviously, Impact in general, I mean, what was your experience like with TNA in general?
Oh, I loved it. Like, it was really amazing. But, unfortunately, back in the days, and I think still today, there are always rumors, that they're, not doing well, that they can't pay and all that stuff, and I don't know. I wasn't sure about it. Like they asked me if I wanna, go with them, but I had my stuff in Japan, so I choose Japan. I had like a lovely apartment in Japan. I had like a, good wrestling every weekend. I really enjoyed it there, so I stayed with them because I was just not sure, how everything will work out. Like, you have to imagine like you have to move to America and
Yeah.
everything is new. Like it's not just like it's a new country, it's a new money, it's new food, it's everything new. Little things you don't even think about, but the water, the law, like the driving, like everything is freaking new. So you have to understand if you make this decision, it should be permanent. And I wasn't sure if, TNA can offer me like a permanent thing. And just imagine, like, I'm not saying that this could have happened, but just imagine you move over there and then everything just goes to shit. And then you don't have even money to go back to your country, and you're stuck and then you're homeless. I don't know. Like I was freaked out. Like I tried to go safe. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, you've got to look after yourself. I totally get that. But
and I'm like all on myself. Like I do not have like a boyfriend or something, and I don't have like parents or stuff like that. I'm legit on myself. So I need to think a little bit. Sometimes a little bit smarter.
You mentioned like doing it on your own and stuff, and that's something that you did do with Sirius Sports Entertainment. Like, there it is. So what inspired Sirius? Was it just something you'd always wanted to do, or what
I always wanted to do it, but I also wanted to prove myself and some people that, like sometimes I go to little indie shows, right? And there are so many things like unprofessional. Some things are just not right. And also people always say you cannot make money with wrestling, right? And these days everybody plays promoter and I kind of hated it. So I want to show myself because, I always talk, hey, you can do this and this better. Like, can I do it better? So that's why I wanted to do Sirius. Like I wanted to came up with a name, with a project, with a vision, and with my own style, and that's what I tried to do. But unfortunately Corona came in my way. But I already, and this is what makes me really proud, I already sold 400 tickets. Wow. And I know nobody who has on their first show already so many tickets, so I don't know. I think I can do it better. I don't know. Maybe I will fail miserably, but I will try, and I have big visions for it. Like I really wish that we have German wrestling on German TV, because I think we have great talents here in Germany or, like German speaking, areas. And that's like my dream. Like I love American wrestling, of course, but I do love wrestling, German wrestling too.
Absolutely. Well, you look at WXW, for example. I mean, they're one of the best in Europe. So, I mean, it's a great place for wrestling. It really is.
But I mean, WXW, for example, they focused a long time on the foreigners, like they brought in all these American stuff, which is good. I mean, they build a brand with that. Yeah. But I do think you can even build more with home talent,
Yeah.
And I mean, WXW is similar to NXT and to NXT UK, so they focus a lot on wrestling. But I love the 80s and the 90s when Hulk Hogan was there, the Macho Man, the Warrior. I love these kind of, that brought me into wrestling, the larger than life characters, and I want to bring that back. So in my show, I want to focus so much more on the entrance. They're going to have like these most craziest entrance, and I want wrestlers with character. Yeah. Like I don't want just a generic black trousers guy. I want someone with character. I want, hey, I know this guy. I saw him, and I want recognizable people, on my show.
Yeah, so, I'm the same.
But I do it differently.
Yeah, I grew up the same watching the 80s. I'm an 80s child. I'm the same. Hogan, Warrior, Savage, all those guys. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. You want someone that grabs your attention and someone who stands out. Yeah. I'm with you on that totally.
Yeah, and I want the big guys. I mean, I have, for example, John Bad Bones Klinger. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, we spoke to him. We spoke to John.
Yeah, he's like Randy Savage, Macho Man,
Yes.
right?
That's what we said.
He's a little bit small, but I don't care for him. But the other boys, I want them big boys. I want like the huge boys, like the 6 feet guys. I don't care if they cannot wrestle. I just want to have big guys there. You know, like I want that my audience, you know, I want them that they're sitting in their chair and they're looking at these big guys, and then they will think, oh my God, this guy can beat my ass, you know.
Yeah.
This bag, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
larger than life. Larger than life.
In life. But if you look like, I mean, please don't understand wrong. I totally, I admire their character, they talent and everything they do. But people like AJ Styles or Finn Balor, they're so tiny, you know. If you see him on the streets, everybody thinks they can beat him, you know. And I don't like that. Like, I know they're super talented. Oh my God, please don't give me any shit here. But I don't know. I just want larger than life people. I want that people turn around and say, hey, who's this guy? You know?
Yeah. No, I get that totally. You want an Undertaker or a Kane or...
Oh, yeah. Big Show.
There you go, yeah.
Lesnar.
Yes.
Jinder Mahal. Yeah.
Oh, don't start with that. But before we wrap up and start to let you go as well, I mean, are we going to see you back in the ring at some point?
Tough question. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, look at Corona, like what it's doing. Like, I didn't go to the gym. Like, it's insane for 12 months. Like, I look so shit. Like, I feel really bad. And I didn't go for wrestling training since 12 months now. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the youngest anymore, and I don't know when this is over. Let's say we have another 6 months or something, and then let's say it opened, then you need to train at least 6 months to go back into ring shape, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I got some requests, you know, there are some promoters who are optimistic that wrestling is going on, but I don't think so in the future, and not in the near future, I mean. So I really don't know, to be honest. Like, I did the other day an interview with Pro Wrestling Eve, and we watched a match, and I was on fire again. I was like, dude, I need this again. Like, I love wrestling so much. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I just injured my shoulder, and I was today at the doctor's, and I maybe need an operation. So I'm like, oh gosh, you know, yeah, I don't know. I'm not the youngest, so I really don't know. Like, it's a really tough question. But I'm okay with it because I'm doing acting now. I'm doing like TV stuff. In Germany, I have a lot of, you know, TV stuff going on. So I'm good, I guess. I'm good. I don't want to retire because if I retire, nobody can be called the wrestler anymore. So I want to stay the wrestler. So I don't know. Who knows?
Well, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
Right?
You know? That's it. You're happy doing what you're doing. That's cool. And
look happy.
I really hope you'll come back on as well at some point. You know, when that movie's released,
Jimmy,
and we'll talk.
I'm sure she'll come back on if we don't keep her waiting next time. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, with you, Callum.
Fine. That's fine. I get it now. I get it. And I was going to tell you loads of Freemason stories, but that's it now. Too late.
He doesn't have any.
I know. Anyway, I have connections, you know.
You've probably got better connections than I have, to be honest. So it's, you probably know more than me. I'll be honest with you there. But
so what about you guys? Are you wrestlers? Like, did you ever step in the ring, or just backstage crew? Like, what you doing? Like,
Callum.
I did.
You did?
I wasn't very good. I started training when I was 17. I had my first match at 18, and then I retired at 22 because I wasn't very good. So
come on, who says that? Like, did you say it? Did someone else say it? Like, there's nothing.
I just, you know, when you just realize like you've probably reached your peak, and I didn't feel like there was anything I could do to improve anymore. I'm not an athlete, and I wasn't very. It didn't come naturally to me. So I thought there's probably things I can do in life that are better. I can do better than wrestling. I'll leave it to the people who are good. And I mean, I still want to do it. But I just realized like that it's probably not going to work out for me.
I train you, okay? As soon as the pandemic is over, we train together. I make you, you know, like ring fit again.
All right. Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
Like a lot of English people actually. Scottish people say that I'm the worst. Like they say I'm a really bad wrestler, but you know what? I didn't listen, you know, like I have my gimmick, I have my character. Yeah, I'm not like super perfect in the ring, and some people maybe can do it better, but you know, you have to have the total package, I think.
Yeah, that's
Well,
it. You have to have it. And I
you
didn't.
you made an impression on me and Callum because we're big fans, so you did something right. And I'm going to make sure he comes to Germany and trains with you. I'm going to make sure he does that.
Yeah,
By doing
absolutely.
The thing is, I would come back, but I always feel like I'm a bit too old now. Like
How old are you now?
32.
32. Not too bad. Do you know, maybe people don't know that, but Tatanka, he was like 35 when he started wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So was Batista. Batista
I
was
knew
35.
Batista was, yeah.
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 There
So
you
it's
go,
not
Callum.
too late.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
but hear me out.
What?
Batista has one thing that I don't, and that's because he's 6'4" and about 280 pounds. I'm 5'10" and 160.
We can get some muscles on there. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
And then we give you some, you know, lifts in the boots. No
Yeah,
problem.
6 foot. Yeah.
Stop making
Oh,
excuses,
I
Callum.
heard-
Do it.
I heard you can go to Russia and then you can break your legs and you can stretch them a little bit. So.
Right. How much are flights to Russia?
He's coming to Germany. I'm going to make sure because I'm going to come with him. All right, you're going to do it. This is it
let's
now.
do it.
This is it.
I have a backyard. We can build up a ring in the backyard and then we do it. And then we're like the best backyard wrestlers ever. Imagine the story, like the headline, like WWE superstar turns to backyard wrestling.
I'm coming. I'm bringing the beer. You two can train. It's perfect. There we go, Callum.
Okay.
You're doing
All
it.
right.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Jazzy, before we let you go as well, I mean, do you want to tell people where they can find you? Any merchandise to plug?
Well, I hope you don't come to find me. Now, if you want to find me online, I'm on Instagram a lot. You can find me there on Jazzy Gabert or Twitter sometimes or Facebook. But yeah, and merchandise SL Wrestling. Or go on my Instagram. I have like a link tree, and then you can find all my links.
Excellent. Well, I think I can speak on behalf of myself and Callum when I say this has been so much fun. It has been an absolute treat.
Because of the gin, baby.
There we go. I'm going for some whiskey. You enjoy your gin. We will stay in touch and get you back at some point because it has been an absolute pleasure. But for now, Jazzy Gabert, thank you very much indeed.
All right. Thank